The Senate Judiciary Committee will vote on Monday whether to confirm Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson. We're going to break this down, obviously, with our analyst. She faced tough questions from Republicans during her hearing last month. Joining us now is constitutional law attorney and GOP strategist Amir Benno. Also joining us is Newsmax contributor and constitutional law attorney Jenna Ellis. Amir, Jenna, great to have you with us. It's been interesting to sort of see how all of this has been shaking down. You take into consideration the fact that when she was confirmed by the Senate to be in the district, a judge in the Court of Appeals, the federal Court of Appeals for the D.C. district, she did have 3 Republican votes, Senator Lindsey Graham, Lisa Murkowski, and also Susan Collins. Susan Collins is really the only one right now that's indicated she'll support her. What do you think has shifted throughout these hearings? Let's start with you, Amir.
I don't think it's unusual at all to hold judges to a different standard when you're considering elevating them up to the Supreme Court than when you were considering putting them on the Court of Appeals. In fact, when Clarence Thomas went through, he flew through his appointment to the D.C. Circuit. And at that point, Joe Biden, who was the chair of the Senate Judiciary Committee, said, don't expect it to go this smoothly if you come before us for the Supreme Court. So they hold them to a higher standard. I don't think that's at all unusual to do. They should be held to a higher standard because they have to consider much more significant issues. For instance, overturning precedent. We see this term. We're talking about abortion. We're talking about affirmative action. Those kinds of precedents may be thrown by the wayside, and that's only something the Supreme Court can do.
Jenna, what do you think was most problematic during her confirmation hearings? Obviously, there was a lot of scrutiny over her sentencing record when it came to these child pornography cases. But I think there was also the fact that when it came to Senator Marsha Blackburn asking her if she could define a woman, she wouldn't.
Yeah, I think both of those were problematic issues for very different reasons. Her sentencing methodology, of course, shows that she's a judicial activist and she has a lot more of a progressive philosophy on her sentencing recommendations and her judicial considerations. But also for Marsha Blackburn's question, what is a woman? For her being unwilling and unable to define what is a woman, that is just absolutely ridiculous. And so when she has so many other cases that will likely come before her when we're talking about women's sports legislation that is controversial, when we're talking about transgender issues, when we're talking about so much of the progressive left, for her to be unwilling to sit in front of that committee and explain what she actually believes on those very important issues is an unwillingness, in my opinion, to actually follow through with the constitutionally required process of the Senate being able to inquire for her philosophy. So if she's willing to ignore the Constitution and just basic science on these issues, it shows she's unwilling to follow the Constitution if she is actually confirmed on the highest court in the nation.
Amir, as Jenna just put it, she didn't really unveil a specific judicial philosophy. She talked about a methodology. She defended her decisions as being neutral. When you look at the support that she has from some of these progressive groups, particularly the ones that want to pack the Supreme Court, what type of justice are we looking at when it comes to sort of the policies that Jenna's touched on?
Well, we're looking at perhaps the most radical left justice that we've had yet. Now, keep in mind, she was very scripted during those confirmation hearings. She went through the murder board. She knew exactly what to say. And the fact of the matter is at certain times, she even said that she hewed to originalism, at least as sort of a data point in terms of how she analyzes the Constitution. But if you had a Republican nominee who said those exact same things, there's no question that person would have been shot down. Joe Biden has been against originalism going back forever, since he's been on the Senate. And frankly, he was one of 20 senators who voted against the Chief Justice, who's not even an originalist, because he thought that he was too far right in terms of his interpretation. So whatever this potential justice, I should say, Ketanji Brown Jackson said in her hearings, it was completely scripted. And that's, I think, a bigger issue for us, is she was not transparent. She was not authentic. She was not telling us how she's going to or what she sees the judge's role to be. She's an activist. And we should assume that she's going to substitute in for Justice Breyer, who also is an activist and was an activist. This is somebody who was the chief of staff for Ted Kennedy on the Judiciary Committee going back before he was appointed. And we shouldn't expect anything else. This is somebody who the left has wanted. They've also recommended her. And it should tell us a lot that a group like Demand Justice has not only said they approve of her, but they recommended her for appointment to the Supreme Court.
Amir Benno, we're going to have to leave it there. Amir Benno and Jenna Ellis, appreciate you both being with us.